Hello, everyone. Good evening. And we had last episode, I think we had total three episodes, and today we have episode four, Cyber Slay. And we had a great speaker with us. And today we have our esteemed guest with us this evening. So please join me in welcoming Anwar Mohammed with over 20 years of experience in cybersecurity. And Anwar has been a pivotal figure in enhancing the information security and landscaping to across the various sectors. And he also has successfully delivered a lot of security programs, significantly improving the security posture for many organizations. So tonight, Anwar will share his invaluable insight and also his journey in cybersecurity. And we are excited to hear his expert advice and learn from his extensive experience. So without further ado, let's dive into the enlightening session with Anwar Mohammed. Welcome to the show, Anwar.
Thank you, Pooja. Thank you for inviting me and thank you for having me here. I think it's a privilege and honor to be with you on the show. Definitely would like to share my input, suggestion as much as I can and give back to the community. Thank you.
Yeah, being 20 years in cybersecurity, I do understand like you are experienced into different sector and even dealing with the different organization, you do have a lot of, details to share with our audience because it is
Yeah.
very important to know the journey of people who are already dealing with a lot of things. So just to one point, if you know already a lot of companies are dealing with cyber attacks, you have been seeing the news, right? So the
Yeah.
recently, if you saw the Windows, the Microsoft, the outrage, whatever happened. So that's how
Yeah.
the companies are going. So it is very important for people to understand experienced person like you. So further any do, I'll definitely gonna have a lot of details to to discuss with you.
Sure.
So what exactly are some of the key challenges that you faced while working in SOC operation across the various industries?
Just to talk about the attacks, right? I think I personally believe that every attack teaches you something or the other. Some attacks tell you that you are weak in so and so place, you got to work on it. For example, we never thought like the
Yes.
recent attack which came as CrowdStrike. We got to know that somewhere, somehow we are weak in our testing, right? We have to ensure that we do
Yeah.
proper testing and only then roll out the patches. Who thought that
Yeah.
that will come up as an issue, right? So yes, each and
Yes.
every problem, be it security or any downtime we get, teaches us something which we have to look into it. Ultimately, it is business first, right? Security,
Yes.
technology. We are all teams working together to ensure that we give that availability, the confidentiality, and the integrity, the three triads of security, right, to the business, and we enable them. We let them do things in a different way, right? We don't tell them not to do things. We tell them to do things in a better way, in a more secure way. So I think somewhere somehow we'll talk more on these parameters and these topics down the line. But to answer to your question, key challenges that I've faced while working SOC operations, I think there are many to talk about. I mean, with 20 years, I'm sure you will also understand and agree that every day is a challenge, right? Especially for people
Yes.
who are working in SOC operations, the evolving threat landscape is different, right? Is challenging for them. You have new attack
Okay.
vectors, you have sophisticated techniques coming in, you have different attacks exploiting those vulnerabilities which are there in your environment. Again, you have resource constraints because you have to manage round the clock 24 by 7 operations, right? If you understand, SOC is like round the clock. It's like 24 by 7 being
Yes.
monitored, being worked upon, different alerts. So you need a lot of people to help you out, right? There are teams working in shifts, so there are resource constraints to keep the shift full and to keep the people the monitor, detect, and respond to alerts and incidents, right? So you need round the clock people. So resource constraint is also one more challenge. And then you have the integration of diverse technologies. I mean, you have a lot of different technologies in SOC. One is there to help you detect the data loss. One is there to help you detect the SIM alerts, and the other one can be for your EDR and XDR, which are like small endpoints which detects anything going malicious or anything going wrong on endpoint users' laptop or desktops, right? So there are different technologies to help you with different issues and challenges with respect to security. So there are different layers of technologies we work, right? The challenge here is to integrate them and give them a synchronization and monitor them, and then have orchestration of all these solutions working together for you and help you monitor and protect across all platforms. And that can be complex, right? As you understand, right? There are different
Yeah.
technologies we are talking about. Bringing them under one roof and then integrating these diverse technology into cohesive security framework, it's difficult. It's difficult. So that's number three. And
Yes.
then we have incident response coordination. This is where I would say the team gets to work together, and then they show that how different departments and stakeholders can actually work together, and in that challenging time can actually communicate effectively and action and take action during security incidents, right? So that's very important that they understand each other's language, they understand each other's process, they understand each other's skills. So they have to work closely, different departments. So suppose, for example, SOC team gets to know that there is a IP address that is trying to attack them. They immediately have to go and talk to the network team. Network team have to maybe block it on the firewall. Nowadays, there are like different solutions which do these things on the fly. But back in my days, it's definitely coordinating with different people from different departments, trying to take action, trying to work on incidents. That's number four. Then we have regulatory compliance, the most important one.
Yeah.
You got to work with different regulations, ensuring compliance and managing the associated documentation, reporting. Again, that can be time consuming and complex thing. So again, you come back with a lot of things. In fact, during the incident, the first thing which goes to mind is how I'm going to prepare a documentation around this incident, right? How am I going to prepare my RCA so that tomorrow if somebody asks me how do you dealt with this incident, I can actually show it to them. So just imagine a situation, or what's going in the mind of a SOC manager, right? On one hand, he's trying to handle the situation. On the other hand, he's trying to foresee things. Maybe after a year, some auditor comes and asks them about what happened
Yeah.
to that incident. Did you had this RCA report in place? Did you had problem management record tracking being in place? I mean, a lot of things he has to think of now and future also. That's the fifth part. And then we have employee awareness training. As you know that the weakest link in the chain is we, right? The we are the one who actually give the loopholes. We are the one who actually give that opportunity to the attackers to bring in malicious virus malware to our network. So we have to ensure that all employees are aware of security best practices and receive
Yes.
regular trainings, right? So this is very important part of making a secure network, or giving a better security posture to your organization. So respond to potential threat is an ongoing challenge, and we have to have a good employee awareness training around the clock, around the year, to your employees and staff, right? That's number six. And then we have 24 by 7 operation. Definitely, I would like to say that we have to have a synchronization and harmony between different teams trying to work with each other in solving any issues. So end of the day, we all have to remember that all you're doing in that SOC center and in that SOC operation room with your team and with other department, you have to remember that you're trying to balance the security and the business needs. You're trying to strike the
Yes.
right balance between the stringent security and the need for operational efficiency and the user convenience, right? I understand that's difficult,
Yeah.
but that's how it is. Without just
Yes.
imagine when I tell you that. Uh, can security survive without business? No, we can't.
No.
And business is there, and we have to just ensure that they are there, right? Uh,
Yes.
it's not the other
Exactly.
way around. It's not the other way around. So
Yes.
we
Yes.
have to. I'll give you a classic example. There was one time when somebody said that I want to download the source code on my laptop because I have to go on vacation. I'll be working from there. I'll be doing these bug fixes and code fixing. That's a developer's mindset. I'm
Yes.
me being a security manager. Can I tell them no? Don't do that because when your laptop is with you, you might lose it, and then it'll be a problem because we lose our source code or your laptop might get compromised. I'm not here to stop the business or stop them from doing what they're doing. Right? I'm here to
Yeah.
enable them to do the same thing in a secure way. So what I did, I
Yes.
actually advised them to go for a BitLocker encryption solution, which actually encrypts the entire hard drive. The moment you turn on your
Mhm.
laptop, the first code it will ask you is to decrypt the hard drive. So suppose this laptop is stolen, this developer's laptop is stolen, no point in actually getting the hard drive out because it is all encrypted. So that's how I have to do. I have to make the best use of the existing technologies, and I have to ensure that my team or my business get the best out of security, not to stop them. So that's the goal.
Yeah, that's true. Even having SOC team, it is too crucial actually. We can, I think 70% of cyber attacks, we can hold it up from the team of
Yeah,
SOC. Am I right?
absolutely.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, 80% goes to that side insider threat as well. Yeah, because they know the system
Okay,
in and out,
then
right? And they have
that sounds
credentials, they
really
have
good.
access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I'll come to the part of like your experience that which you already have been in a different sector like financial, telecom, and banking. So how did you shape your approach to cybersecurity for these industries?
I think these sectors, honestly speaking, has significantly shaped my approach to cybersecurity because each and every sector demands a different security requirement, and it highlights the
Yeah.
different challenges, right? The diverse challenges and unique requirements of each industry. There are so, for example, financial sector, right? It is highly regulated and constantly being targeted
Mm.
by cyber criminals. So this actually
Yes.
experience taught me the importance of strict regulatory compliance, implementing robust access controls. So all in all, if you say financial sector, yes, it's regulatory. That's the first thing will come to my mind. So I have to ensure that what is given in, for example, in UAE we have NISA, right? So what is given in NISA? NISA is telling me to do this to ensure that I don't fall a non-compliance to regulatory standards. Fine, I got to do these things. I have to ensure that these things are being monitored, tracked, and responded accordingly. Otherwise, I'll have a huge regulatory penalty, a fine. When I was working with
Yeah.
telecom industry, I was facing challenges related to protecting vast networks and ensuring the security of critical infrastructure. Imagine
Mm.
a situation where you are working in an ISP, internet service provider of the country, and you are actually protecting everyone behind that network, right? So your ISP is the first touch point where the entire traffic comes in, right? And then it goes to all the people inside the country through you. So you have a huge responsibility on your shoulders to ensure that none of the small firms, corporate sectors, or an end user also is impacted because of external factors or external cyber attacks, right? So this is a huge responsibility on your shoulders. You got to prevent the DDoS attacks. You have to ensure the endpoints of each and every corporate laptop, desktops, or maybe servers is actually secure. And you have to ensure the confidentiality, integrity of all the communication happening across the globe from UAE, right? So the telecom
Yeah.
sector actually emphasizes on scalability, reliability that shapes the entire approach to designated resilient security architectures. I mean, that can handle high volume
Yeah.
of traffic and adapt to evolving threats because every day you will face a different threat. Sometimes it's DDoS attack, sometimes it is malware attack, sometimes it's ransomware. You name it, you get that attack, and someone or this other enterprise or corporate customer will be facing that issue, and you are actually the guardians
Yes.
of the galaxy standing on the border. So that's a very important and critical role that telecom industry taught me. In banking sector, I
Yeah.
think I've worked for three banks, so Standard Chartered Bank and Bank of America, and also now RAKBANK. I think in the banking industry, it's all about customer trust and data integrity, which is paramount, right? My
Yes.
experience with banking actually was like a multi-layered security measures, like including encryption, multi-factor authentication, regular security audits. I mean, I've learned the importance of safeguarding customer data, which is the most important part, against like breaches, fraud, while maintaining a seamless user experience. We have to ensure, because I can't make it inconvenient to customer, because customer here is business. When I say business, is like again going back
Yes.
to the same thought that you are here to enable customer do 10 things in 10 different ways, and not to force the security restrictions onto them. Your security thoughts should enable them, should help them do business or interact with you or do the banking with you in a most easiest and convenient way. So that's my
Yeah.
experience with telecom, banking, and financial sector.
Yeah, even the major concern for a lot of many companies or industries with the DDoS attack, because I have been into in
Yeah,
the industry and I also read a lot of news. So I think DDoS has become major concern for many companies, I can say. So that the
absolutely,
experience which you share definitely gonna be like, I think the right now the startup companies who are right now started their business and also they also should be aware of these attacks, because every company really
absolutely,
matters for them to protect their data. So that's actually
absolutely,
a good point to mention about it. So
absolutely.
um,
Another thing, Pooja,
like
not to interrupt you here,
yeah,
just one more. The good that you highlighted that DDoS part. See, the worst thing in DDoS is the attacks actually comes from multiple different regions. So usually what
Yes,
happens, if you get an attack, you try to block that IP, right? Or that country
yes,
maybe, right? But
yes,
here in DDoS, you can't do that because the attack is coming from
yes,
different locations in the globe. There are
yeah,
multiple
exactly.
bots attacking you. I mean, you got to have a different approach.
Yeah, exactly. So, Alal, go to the little bit of technical side. So, could you
Sure.
elaborate some of the technical or security program that you delivered and how exactly that impacted to the organization to their security posture?
Well, there are different training programs in and out. We do that, like safe internet practices, secure data handling procedures. Like phishing also can be the one, because, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
it's the weakest link chain is humans, right? And
Yeah,
the place where anybody can actually find an opportunity is to compromise someone's desktop and just try to crawl in the network using that. It can be a small pen drive lying in in the parking lot, somebody picking it up and trying to connect to your corporate laptop. You're done, dead, right? So
yeah,
these kind
yeah,
of things can be straight away avoided by having good security awareness culture, wherein you bring in everybody under one roof and try to tell them that these are the different attack vectors, this is how you can actually get attack. So this is really going to help the people. So that's definitely an important thing to do, having security awareness training. Another thing is having an advanced threat detection and response program. Like, for example, you have SIM in place, right? Security Information and Event Management Solution, which is integrated with machine learning algorithm, which actually takes action on its own. So you got to ensure that
yeah,
not only your staff across your organization, but also your own team is also aware of different ways they can actually stop these attacks from spreading around, right? uh, all in all, while working for banking industry, I've learned that even customers has to be educated now, because even they have to ensure that they don't click on any of the link which looks like bank.com, right? It has to be completely verified, because not everything that says www.bank.com is not their bank. I mean, of
yeah,
course they go to some wrong website and they end up giving their credentials and they are done, right? So even customers has to be educated here. So
yeah,
that's one thing which I definitely thought of telling you, that technical and security programs means not only for you but for customers also in their own way. Then we had also network segmentation and zero trust architecture that's coming up nowadays a lot, in a lot of topics and a lot of discussions, right? That's something which I have delivered to ensure that there is a spearheaded project to redesign the organization network infrastructure, trying to ensure
okay,
that we are actually incorporating the network segmentation at a zero trust. We don't trust the other zone. We don't trust any other zone. We just be in our zone as long as we are authorized or permitted to be, right? That's like by default we are trusting our own zone. That's a very good concept. I'm sure you know more about it. It is just that you trust in your own zone. You don't go to any other zone. You'll not be given access. As simple as that, right? No matter who you are,
yeah,
no matter
yeah,
what access you have, it's just that confined to your zone. So that's a very good concept. And we also have delivered endpoint protection and EDR implementation program, wherein we
yeah,
actually rolled out an advanced endpoint EDR solution across all organization endpoints. We have deployed the next generation antivirus behavior analysis and threat hunting capabilities, which actually going to impact in a very significant way, and it's going to decrease the endpoint related security incidents. And these are the things which are actually going to mitigate sophisticated malware and ransomware attack. So all in all, if you see, it's a complete package. It is for you, it is for your staff, it is for your customers, and it is for your entire infrastructure. So I think it
yes.
has to be whole 9 yards.
Yes, exactly. So you have mentioned really very good points here because even the endpoint point, I'm aware of the endpoint security also. So I think
Yeah.
everybody should aware of those things. So I'll just come to the second part. Like there's already a lot of many organizations are there. So what are the some common mistakes organization make when they're trying to improve their cybersecurity maturity? Because and how they have to avoid? Can you mention any few? So it might be helpful for the audience to know about it.
Uh, yeah, so off the shelf, I can think of a couple of them. One being the over reliance on technology. Now, I've been saying technology all this while, but again, this is where a lot of people go wrong. That they depend too much on technology. I mean, they rely solely on a technological solution to mitigate risk. I mean, while neglecting the human and process aspect of security. So, solution would be here is implement a balanced
Yes.
approach. I mean, that includes people, process, and technology, and ensure that security policies, procedures are well defined, and the staff are trained to follow them. Right, that's number one. Then we have to have a regular update and patch system. Trust me, when I go for any security assessment, I go and look at the patches installed. Right, the various security updates happen on a server or a machine. Right, back in my days when I was working as a SOC engineer or SOC manager, I was actually more focused on the technologies that are there, but I was completely not aware of the underlying infrastructure. For example, I install uh, 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 a SIM solution. Then what about the underlying operating system on which the SIM solution is installed? Is that secure? That's not secure. Then what is the point? So I am vulnerable then, right? If I am vulnerable, how can I protect others? You see
Yeah,
the
that's
avalanche
true.
effect here, right? That's the
Yes.
problem. So I have to ensure that my systems, my infrastructure, everything is patch updated, everything is like up to date. Then we have insufficient incident response planning. I mean, this is where the whole thing actually can go for a toss. I mean, lacking a well-defined incident response plan, I'm sure you'll understand, right? It can lead to confusion. It can lead to
Yeah.
delays during a security incident. If you're
Yes.
prepared, do the drill. I mean, do the drill, do the testing, see how well you understand the process and how well your team also understand that. I mean, how they echo the thoughts, right? So we
Yes.
have to develop and regularly test an incident response plan. Number one important thing. I mean, this plan can be outlining the roles, responsibility, and procedures of detecting, responding to various security incidents, but also can be of recovering how we recover from those security incidents, right? That's
Yes.
one. Then, when I was working for Standard Chartered Bank, I learned another one more thing. Important thing is people neglect third-party risk. Standard Chartered Bank came up with a brilliant idea of having their own security assessment team. Uh, it is just a team of 25 people, full-time job to detect risk and to detect security issues with third party. Imagine the importance they have given it to this part, right? They have got one dedicated team to look into all the third party risks, third party security issues. So it's very important because failing to assess and manage risk associated with third party vendors and partners can be very harmful. I mean,
Very true.
you can definitely conduct thorough due diligence on third party vendors, including security assessments on regular audits, and then try to ensure that they are actually working on them and they are not putting you at risk because of those issues at their end, right? That's important.
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely, this yeah, absolutely. So, but again, all this is possible when you have a top down approach, right? Your senior management
Exactly.
believes in all this and they are actually supporting you. So
Yeah.
cybersecurity efforts are often not supported or prioritized by senior
Yeah.
leadership because that is where the business is, right? So somewhere
Yes.
somehow you got to keep telling them that this is what the problem is, this is what the challenge is, and this could be the best solution. So regularly communicate the importance of cybersecurity to senior leadership team and demonstrate how
Yeah.
it can support the organization goals in a longer run, right? That's the strategic part of
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
these are things
That's
which are very important.
that's really insightful. Like, I just keep listening to you, learning a lot of things from you. That is very good.
100%.
So, the thing like which you mentioned about the endpoint and your experience, definitely you know the market right now because everybody are running for cybersecurity. Like, let's
Yeah,
go to do some cybersecurity. Like, but in cybersecurity, you are aware of EAPT, SOC, risk assessment, and there's a compliance. So I can say it's totally a big ocean if I see the opportunities which is coming in the market right now. So
correct.
when it comes to the certification and all, and you also have done numerous certification, right? So how exactly would you give any kind of suggestion or something like that, when it comes to the certification part? So what is your thought about it?
I'll be very honest here, and I'll go off the discussion also, and maybe off the script as well. I'm just trying to be very honest
Sure.
with everyone who's listening this live stream that certificate is just a gate pass. Okay, it will let
Yeah.
you get you into in the interview room. Okay, and then you can sit because you have actually been shortlisted because of your certification. So suppose there are like 500 application, great. So out of that, you have like CISA, CIS, BCH, and all those certification. Great, you will be shortlisted. You will be asked to come into the interview room, and you can sit there and you can have that discussion with the panel. But trust me, and please understand this, that it is not an offer letter for you, right? You really
Yes,
have to kill that interview. You really have to be very confident and be very knowledgeable to crack that interview, and that will only come with skill set. So my humble request to everyone who's watching this live stream is to first and foremost have that practical hands-on experience, learn things,
exactly.
skill set. I will tell you my days when I just had a small P3 system. I actually built a small lab on it, and I tried testing, working on it. And that's how I built my experience. So, to anyone who's interested in cybersecurity, please ensure that you have practical hands on experience first. I mean, be whatever your
Exactly.
plans are. Like you want to go to GRC, you want to do pen testing, you want to do audit, you want to do cybersecurity, you want to be in SOC operations, be it whatever it is. But start from basic, start from learning. Networking you can learn, right? Like CCNA courses. Learn that, learn the networking, learn the securities ABC, and then you try to clear the certification later on. Don't jump onto the certification, because any certification will give you bookish knowledge, and that will not help you crack interviews. For example, for me, if you come for an interview to me, and if I am taking your interview, trust me, I'm just going to be uh, impressed for 1 or 2 minutes looking at your credentials, certificates, but then actual interview starts, and I'm going to ask you questions. Those questions you will know and understand the answers to them only when you have really worked on them, only when you have, I mean, worked practically on those things. You cannot answer those questions just by clearing these certificates. Trust me, certificate is just a gate pass for you to get into that interview room. It is not an offer letter. It will not give you the job. You will definitely, I mean, let's say that there are people who are so fond of certificates. They're a big fan of certificates. I'm talking about the hiring managers. If they hire you, even that is not good for you, because when you go on the floor and when you work with your peers and colleagues, you'll be exposed. You will be exposed because they will
Exactly.
be at different
Yes.
level. They'll be working like so good, so technically. They'll be handling situation and incidents and any work that is assigned to them, and you'll always be looking at them left, right, and then you'll not be understanding that what exactly is going on. So please, my dear
Yeah.
friends, don't do that. Learn things from basic. Then it will help you in a long run. You'll be confident on the floor. You will definitely do better than others. You will excel in that. So certificate is just a gate pass. If you really want to do certificate, I can name a couple of them, like CISA, CISP, because CISA will give you more of governance, risk and compliance side. CISP will give you more of information security. In between the two, you can do a lot of certificate like CEH and other things. But trust me, it is just a gate pass. Two certificates, if you want to do CISA, CISP, the top notch in their own league and segment, do that. Don't do other certificate, waste of time, waste of money for you in the initial days. But yes, if you're interested in pen testing, then definitely go for a different cadre altogether, like GPen, OSCP. They're a different certificate for that, and they will have their own value. So first of all, learn things on your own. Then you choose the right stream for you, and accordingly you choose your certificate. Okay.
Exactly. Basically, a lot of people don't have the basic fundamental itself. Like when they talk about certification and all, and if we give any scenario basis question to to understand the networking
Yeah.
thing, so that is only a lot of people doesn't even understand what networking and where it stands for. So this is the
Yeah.
question I ask every person, and I really want each and every person who was starting their career in cybersecurity should exactly know what they have to do. And choosing a
Absolutely.
part, as you mentioned about the VAPT, SOC, and the compliance, they have to first aware of it. So which one they have to choose as per their experience and the knowledge. I think that might be helpful for you. And thank you so
Absolutely.
much. Actually, this was something every time I've keep telling to the people about it. So I think now the audience, whoever gonna listen, definitely they will be understand the importance of it. So I will come to the part of compliance now because when you said you have experience into IT framework and there's already like ISO 27001, there's a NIST is there. There's you're from the UAE side, so there's a Saudi Arabia have a different compliances. So country basis, if you see, there are a lot of different compliances are there. In India also there's a DPDP new compliance has been introduced by the government. So
Correct.
many of organizations are not aware of it. So I think you have implemented the IT framework like ISMS 27001 NIST and all. So for the major organizations, so can you just tell us any benefit or the challenges that you have experienced into these frameworks?
Sure, Pooja. So actually, I've had the opportunity to implement IT frameworks such as ISMS 27001, COBIT, NIST. I'm myself lead implementer. So when I was working with Etisalat, I got the opportunity to implement the ISO 27001. And I was working for Bank of America. We got the opportunity to implement the COBIT framework right from scratch. Now, NIST is anyhow there when we talk about security. It's each and every control talks about NIST, right? In each and every framework. So benefit is when you talk
Yeah.
about ISMS 27001, it provides a structured approach, right? Managing information security, ensuring that all aspects of securities are covered. I mean, it'll give you step by step what to do and how to do. That's the best part, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
ISMS. Risk management is part of it. So you will emphasize risk assessment, management, helping organization, identifying, assessing, and mitigating the risk effectively is a byproduct of all that. So when you take up ISMS 27001, the risk management will come along with it. You will have a compliance certification post, which you can definitely go for 27,000 certification if you meet all the criteria and if you have this organization's commitment to information security, right, which can enhance the reputation and trust with client and stakeholders. If you have a certificate like that, I'm sure your client and stakeholders will definitely trust you and will definitely you have a good reputation in the market. But again, ISO 27,000 certificate, it's not like one task and you are done with it and you don't have anything else to do after that, right? You're good to go. No, it's not like that. It's a continuous improvement process. The framework actually promotes continuous monitoring and improvement of security practices. So keeping the organization security posture is up to date is the responsibility, and that is what the certificate demands, right? Then we have COBIT, which is more towards governance and management. So it provides a comprehensive framework for IT governance and management,
Yeah.
right? Aligning the IT goals with business objective. And this is where I actually learned that IT and security or whatever infrastructure teams are there, they're here to meet the business objectives, not to run on their own. So that's where actually when COBIT is beautifully designed in such a way that the framework calls out all the goals that are aligning to the business objectives. See how beautifully they have
Yeah.
actually worded and they have actually designed the framework. Every objective of yours, like for example, you talk about my server having availability round the clock 24 by 7. Great. Now, what do I have to do from IT side to meet that availability point? Right? That's how COBIT is designed. So process improvement definitely comes along with COBIT. It helps you in identifying and improving the IT processes and enhancing an efficiency and effectiveness of that. Again, we also have challenges with COBIT framework because it's actually extensive and it's detailed guidelines. So sometimes for newcomers or new uh, organizations, it can be overwhelming. And for smaller organization, definitely yes, I would say they should actually stick to ISO 27001 because COBIT is very overwhelming and it is quite extensive as well. So that's one advice. And for NIST, I think it is actually a detailed guideline. It's like all the best
Yes.
practices of cybersecurity,
Mm.
covering a
Yes.
wide
Yes.
range of security controls and measures. So I mean that's something. I'm sure when you go through NIST, you will know lot of given controls and measures because they are all coming from best practices. So they have a flexibility as well
Yes.
because they can be adopted to organizations of all sizes and sectors, right? You have definitely risk based approach in NIST. You can actually help your organization prioritize security efforts based on their specific risk profile. So, but again, NIST also comes with challenge, which talks about the breadth and depth of the NIST framework is very complex. It's like
Yeah.
miles wide and like inch depth. So you
Yeah.
have definitely a huge area to cover, and it requires significant effort and expertise. There is
Yes.
definitely scalability that comes into picture because you have to have flexibility and scaling the framework to fit very large or very small organization that can actually present difficulties when you do that. So you have to have a very good understanding of the framework when you pick it up, any one of them. So the conclusion over here is, if I have to talk about, is there are benefits in terms of structured security management, risk management, process improvement, compliance. But these challenges are actually primarily involve around the complexity of implementation, resource requirement, and need of continuous updates and organization buying. So be it whatever framework you choose or be it whatever best practice you pick up, there will be challenges that will come along with it. There will be issues that will come along with it, but the beauty of it is the success that comes after this, right? The good stakeholder management you'll have, the incremental implementation you'll do, the continuous monitoring and improvement you'll do down the line. That's the silver line. So I would say it's worth the effort.
Yeah. So just like it is my curiosity. Like I really wanted to ask this question to you. That so already you have worked in all these different compliances. So would you recommend the ISO 27001 to the SMB level companies because they're now in the market and definitely for every businesses the budget matters the most. And also, definitely, they have to protect the data. So, would you recommend them to go with it, or any specific compliances that would you recommend to have it for sure?
That's a very interesting and good question, Pooja. I think you hit the nail on the head. For SMBs, 27001 is the way to go. Why? Because it is very clear. It is not complex. It is not overwhelming. You are given a set of controls. You've been told what to do, and at the same time, you've been told how to do. So that's definitely doable and achievable for a small organization which started just now, because when they have a startup, right, or when they actually not at a large scale, their primary focus, I'm sure, should be and would be on growing the business, right, not getting a
Yes,
certificate
yes,
or not being benchmarking themselves, right. That's not what they is on the priority list for them. So ISO
yes.
27001, you're right, is the way to go for any SMB.
Yeah. Even they will also understand like where exactly the loopholes are there and they can also implement it. So I would actually
Absolutely. Yep.
recommend and but when we are in the market, when we are dealing or discussing this kind of thing, people actually not aware of it. So having this years of experience person, if they actually mention these kind of things, so I would say maybe a lot of companies will be aware of these things. So thank you
Correct.
so much
It's
for it. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's a baby step, right? You just take towards that, and then later on, you can go for NIST, COBIT, whichever framework you want to. But we have to start somewhere. So ISO is a good way to
Yes,
start.
exactly. So how do approach for these kind of frameworks or any kind of cybersecurity practice? Any thoughts for that?
So, aligning an organization's cybersecurity practice with frameworks such as ISMS or COBIT or NIST, actually it requires a strategic and systematic approach. You have to have a good assessment and gap analysis to begin with. You identify your current state. You find out where you're standing today, right? You do the gap analysis. You will just find out where the current practices do not meet the requirement of the framework, right? That's the delta you try to find out. The delta will help you understand, okay, fine, this is what is missing now. So you evaluate the risk posture. You will assess the organization's risk posture by identifying the critical assets, which you call it as a crown jewels, right? You find out the threats and vulnerabilities associated with those critical assets, and what is the existing risk management practices you have in place. And that's the first thing to do. So you first understand, you identify the current state of your organization. Then you move on to defining the objective and scope. You try to find out the clear objectives of for aligning cybersecurity practices with the framework. Like I said, we are here for the business to do things in a different way, right? Enable them do things, 10 different things in 10,000 different ways, right? You're not here to stop them from doing those things because of
Yeah,
security constraints. So the objective should align with the organization business goals and risk management strategies. You determine the scope, right? You just say that, okay, fine, this is the scope of the alignment of the project, and this is the most important part of the organization, and these are the system, process, and data that is included in my scope of work. Fine, I need to build my framework in such a way that it protects these system, this data, and this solutions in place. So that's the second part, wherein you find out the objective and the scope. Then goes with the roadmap. I mean, definitely once you have a good gap assessment being done, the scope you understand, then this the third thing, you definitely have to think that how you can actually meet or develop or implement this framework, right? You have to have a roadmap in place. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? You can't do it in one day. You have to build a roadmap with milestone. You have to talk about like outlining the steps that are required to align your organization with each and every framework that you pick up, right? So there should be
yeah,
specific action, timelines, resources required, key milestones that will come. So this is all part of your roadmap, so which will go into your roadmap, and you will define all this. So you have to prioritize in the end that what exactly goes first, right? Based on the results of the gap analysis, of course, you will do the prioritization, right? You will see that these are the high risk areas, these are the critical compliance requirement that needs to be first addressed. That's the one which you have to look into it. And then you have to engage with stakeholders, because like I said, it's always a top down approach, and it's not possible with you alone. You have to have everybody working with you. Collaboration, right? As my CEO says, collaboration is very important. So collaboration is very important. You have to work with your key
Yeah.
stakeholders. You got to work with your senior management, IT staff. You have to work with your business unit leaders. You have to ensure that everybody is working with you and collaborating with you in achieving that project, in achieving that goals, aligning with your project, right? And then comes the governance part, right? Because once everything is laid out and crafted and then drawn on a nice board, then we have to have governance in place to ensure that what you have committed and what you have thought of as part of your milestone, that this day, this time, I'm going to meet this particular goal. Fine, are you meeting that? What is the challenge you're coming? So governance is not there with a stick to punish you that you have not met, but to help you also, to tell you that, okay, fine, this is where you're stuck, this is what you can do. Or maybe you need help
Yeah.
from some other department. This is where they actually act as a catalyst in the reaction, right? And then you have definitely other teams which will be doing the implementation of the changes, bringing in monitoring and measures in place. And then there are the cycle which goes on, like reviewing and improving, right? The plan, do, check, act. Plan, do, check, and act. You go, it goes in cycle, and you try to do it till you get to the last stage where you are done and you implemented things. Then definitely you do document and reporting, because you have to understand that you will be leaving this organization one day. There should not be any dependency there. And then somebody who picks up the role, your role, or your responsibilities, should understand what you have done and how much is left and what to do. So documentation is very
Yeah.
important. I mean, it definitely, you don't want to create a vacuum there when you leave, right? You don't want to be a single point of failure. So you have to ensure that a thorough documentation of policies, procedures, changes, audit results, all this is there in place for demonstrating compliance and for future reference. It's important.
Yeah. So when we talk about all these things, so definitely there is some advices that would you like to recommend for the organization when it's come to uplifting their technology risk or information security programs? Any
My
advices?
number Absolutely. My number one advice, and which I have been telling it to my peers, colleagues, and my stakeholders, is to conduct a comprehensive risk assessment, right? Know your critical assets, know your data, application, and infrastructure, right? Know your potential threats and vulnerabilities associated with that asset. I mean, you don't know what you have, then that's the biggest problem, right? I'm sure you agree with me in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You need to know
Yes.
what you have, and you need to know what are the vulnerabilities associated and threat associated. Only then you can protect, right? How are you going to protect if you don't know
Exactly.
who's your enemy, right? So that's the number
Yeah.
one thing is trust me, it is common sense, is basic, but a lot of time we just get on to the technology world so much so that we forget the basics, and we just try to get the solutions left, right, and then we try to buy them, procure them, thinking that these vendors will come and will give us solution and will protect us. No, you have to know first what exactly you have and how to protect them. So that's number one. Then
Exactly.
the second thing is, definitely have a robust security framework, be it ISO, be it NIST, be it COVID. You choose what you want. I mean, depending upon your appetite, or your depending upon your capability, you choose the right framework, because framework is like the beacon, right? It just guides you. It's just like the lighthouse, right? It guides you to come to the shore, right? So you have to have a framework to tell you how to do and what to do. That's number two. Then have strong governance and oversight, because without governance, without senior management attention, nobody's going to do anything. And they definitely need to
Hmm.
understand that there's a committee that include key stakeholders from various departments to oversee the security program and ensure that alignment with each and every business objective is met, right? Business
Yeah.
objectives number one, so you keep that also on top, because eventually, I mean, if you do if you go for a framework, you will have all these things falling in place. But one thing is going to miss when you take a framework is you have to have strong governance oversight. You have to have senior management involvement, top down approach. You have to define roles and responsibilities, and then you're good to go. Have the security awareness training, start implementing, conduct regular audits, and then you go and have a strong incident response plan in the end. Have regular drills and simulations, so that if anything goes wrong, then you are ready for that, and you also prepared for the worst day, right? So having a framework is not enough. Having a DR
Yeah.
also is important, right? You need to understand that how you can actually create an incident response plan that outline the procedures of detecting, responding to, and recovering from security incident, right? You definitely have to have these things in place so that you come back next day.
Yeah. Like when you're explaining all these things, I have one more question, out of the box. Like you're
Yeah,
already aware of the AI is booming in the market right now. A lot of
absolutely.
companies are
Yeah,
using AI tools. So
yeah,
what are your
absolutely.
thoughts or maybe anything which, when it comes to cyber security in AI? So how do
And
you,
that,
what exactly your thoughts on that?
and I find it quite amusing also now because AI is definitely going to help us do 10 different things in 1,000 different ways. This is definitely going to meet our business objectives.
Exactly.
But
Yeah,
from where I see, we have to, ensure that none of our actually data is being leaked because of AI, or none of the data is being compromised because of AI. But at the same time, you have to ensure that AI itself is not compromised or AI itself is not attacked, because
exactly.
AI is also a solution, right? Being implemented on a different set of systems. So we got to protect
Yes.
now from both the sides. So it's going to be interesting down the line.
Yeah. So I'll just go with the last thing to check with you. How do you stay updated or any kind of latest development in cybersecurity? Would you like to give any recommendation or the resources to the people?
Yeah, of course. See, staying updated with the latest development in cybersecurity is very crucial for any professional working in this field. But my number one advice is, if you are interested, you will find your ways out, right? When
Correct.
I joined cybersecurity, I was just an engineer. Taking up incidents and working on them. I didn't even knew that where exactly I'll go from here. So that was 20 years ago. Now I actually see people are much more smarter than that. They learn things in their college and they prepare for the certification along with their college degrees. They are well prepared than what we used to be back in those days. So I'm
Yes.
100% sure people will figure out. But the only thing is, very important thing is, you have to know and understand where is your interest. You want to be a SOC guy, you want to be in an GRC guy, or you want to be doing the pen testing, right? You have to understand what interests you, and only then you will be definitely looking into those different sources and channels where you can actually learn things. Number one way of learning, continuous learning and certification, is enrolling in advanced courses like you have Coursera, EDX, Udemy, right? So if this interests you, enroll in these courses. If definitely, but watch out. One more thing I forgot. Uh, there is no training program that is better compared to anyone teaching you one on one, right? Like a mentor. Like, this is the best way of learning, because you can actually have a cross questioning going on in that session, right? That's the best way to learn. So one side learning is like Coursera, Udemy, YouTube, Udemy. There are a lot of channels, but there, when you're
Yes.
watching things, you'll always be in question, like, okay, fine, I have this question, now who do I ask? So that gives you that interruption in your learning. So the best way to
Yeah.
learn is, if you're starting new, then you just go for your coaching classes, classroom training. That's number one
Yes.
advice I can give it to anyone. Then you slowly build up on top of that. You go through all the different online courses available. You pick up your mentor first. That's very important. Regular learning is definitely not a challenge nowadays, because you can subscribe to newsletters, you can read research reports from IBM. Our Horizon Data Breach Investigation Report is there. You have Semantic Internet Security Threat Reports. A lot of different channels are there. You can attend conference and webinars. But what's going to help you is having a mentor in place, having a classroom training in the initial days when you're preparing or trying to get into this field. But trust me, you need skill set to survive in this industry, in cybersecurity, information security.
Exactly.
You need skill set.
Yeah.
Without that, everything is bookish, my dear friends.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Anwar. So, just a few words for you because with you, like the way I got good knowledge from you also. So, we are wrapping this session now. I would deeply thank you and grateful for you to, having today with
My
you in
pleasure.
this session, which your knowledge and experience which you shared. You talked about SOC operation, you talked about IT governance, you talked about risk management, and also the latest trends. And you also pitched a little bit of AI also. So thank you so much for joining us. And your contribution to the cybersecurity in the field is always a dedicated. And when we, having this experience, people will comment of actually we're inspiring a lot of people to join in for the cybersecurity and understand the world of cybersecurity. So in the coming time when everybody are aware of it, so I think we might also reduce the cyber attacks in the coming time, and also the cyber crimes, which is right now in the topmost. Every day, lots of people are losing their money. Maybe by doing this from people like you for coming this kind of sessions, it will be really helpful for a lot of people. So I would really heartily would like to thank you again, Anwar. and for taking time and to join us and share your expertise. And we really appreciate your valuable input, and I definitely going to look forward for future engagements. So thank you so
Pleasure
much.
is
And
mine,
and we
Pooja.
don't have, yeah, we actually don't have any questions right now. So thank you once again. And the audience
Okay.
must and should watch this video. So you are gonna get a lot of knowledge from this session. So thanks again, and I'll definitely gonna see you in the future.
Thank you so much, Pooja, for inviting me. Pleasure is all mine. Definitely, it is like giving back to the community and helping
Yes.
folks. I'm always there. People can reach out to me on LinkedIn, and any help, any suggestion, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.